Hi, I'm Momo, I'm 30, I'm Asian American, and I am finally following my art dreams. So welcome to my very first Cozy Clay Studio Diary. I'm so happy that you're here and embarking on this journey with me. And today I thought that I would take you all with me as I designed my very first Asian folktale inspired collection for my shop launch this spring. All right, let's go. So welcome to my sketchbook. Last night I spent some time sketching out the different characters I wanted to include in my shop launch, and I knew that one of them had to be the kitsune. This one right here is my first shot at it, so you could see that there's a very poorly drawn leaf and it has like 9 tails, because that's what everyone knows. Everyone knows who the 9-tailed fox is. However, I don't think I liked this very much. I just felt that it was way too busy with the tails. I don't know, I couldn't imagine sculpting that. So then I thought, okay, maybe what if I made it like standing like a normal fox? And what if I instead gave it 3 tails? But I didn't really like that either. So finally I ended up being like, okay, I like this design here, but I want it to have like the kind of look of this one right here. And so I came up with this, and I added these red markings because I was inspired by the different kitsune masks. So for the next character, I wanted to do a little moon bunny. And you can see I went through a few different iterations here too. This bunny right here is closer to what like my original idea was when I was first considering launching a shop, but I don't know, it looks cheesy. It doesn't really feel mythological. So I came to this one, but then I was really confused as to how I would actually sculpt the kimono and put the legs on in a way that doesn't look awkward. So then I finally came to this. I was like, okay, let's make it look more anthropomorphic. And then the next character here that I wanted to do was actually from Filipino folklore. So this one right here is Bakunawa, which is a sea dragon that tried to eat the moon. So I thought, how cool would it be to make a moon out of like yellow translucent clay and then wrap it around it? Kind of just looks like a snake cosplaying as a dragon. I don't really know, but maybe with the whiskers, and maybe once I actually sculpt it, it won't look so weird. And finally, I got this guy from a Korean folktale called The Green Frog. This folktale is about a frog that didn't listen to its mom, and the whole thing kind of like answers the question, why do frogs cry in the rain? I personally didn't really know that they cried in the rain, but apparently they do. I already had this kind of motif on the fox, so I wanted to give it something a little different to indicate tears. So I thought how much cooler it would be to put little red dots from its eyes, kind of like indicating that it's crying. And I wanted to give it this little ginkgo leaf umbrella. I thought that would be really cool as well. So yeah, so let's sculpt them. I'm not sure about this little golden eye look, but I made it with translucent clay, and I'm planning on putting like a giant dot of acrylic black paint with a little white part for the little sparkle in the eye, and I'm hoping that it looks okay. I'm not sure. So here he is baked. He looks really cute, but there's a few things I want to change in this prototype for the final version. So first off, his eyes look very awkward. I don't like how these brown pupils look on top of the golden irises. I don't know, I think I'm gonna redo them and make them probably half as big and turn them entirely black. I think that would look cuter. And I like how the red markings turned out, but I think the idea is really cute, but I think that ultimately I want to do these over with like red ink pen, because I have more precise control over that, and I want the markings to look a little more even.
And also when he came out after baking, these little red tips actually were very pale orange. So the pigment from the pastels faded a ton during the bake. So I actually had to go over him again by mixing some pastel with alcohol and using a Q-tip to rub it in. But I don't know, I'm not very pleased with that. So I actually ordered a higher quality red pastel that has more pigment in it. So hopefully it will fade a lot less. So, oh yeah, and I love how these tails turned out. Oh my gosh, it looks so cute. Yeah, and I think he looks really cute as a desk friend, maybe. I think that he would look really great next to a computer monitor, especially if you watch anime or even a bookshelf, especially if you collect manga. And oh my goodness, I can just imagine all the little different places that you can put him on. Ugh, I'm so happy with how this turned out. I'm gonna definitely sculpt a final version though. So let's go ahead and sculpt our moon bunny. Cue the 4x speed montage. Alright, y'all, here is my moon bunny. It's a little bit wonky because I had some difficulty and it actually fell over a number of times. But, you know, this is a prototype. It's okay. It's no big deal. And I still have to sand it, remove the dust, but oh, I am very happy with how this one turned out too. I made the robe here out of translucent clay and colored it with some green and blue pastels, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. It's still hot, but as it cools down, it's gonna look a little more translucent, and I think that once I glaze it, it's really gonna pop. I wanted to give this more traditional Asian clothing, but I gave it a simpler cape robe-esque thing, and I think this is something that I could reproduce much more easily for when I start to sell these. I think that there's little bits here. So for example, here, I wish I had maybe put it a little bit more tightly against it. This eye, I think, is a little too big. So next time, I think I need to actually calibrate my scale and make sure that I weigh that out properly. And I love the little pink nose with the pink blood in. It's so cute. Oh, I'm really happy with how this turned out. Oh my gosh, this is a really good first prototype. I can't wait to make a final version of this. Oh, and once I get my colored micron pens tomorrow, I'm also gonna draw that little moon symbol on its forehead. I can't imagine painting that. I'm not a good painter. So next up, we're gonna sculpt Bakunawa, the Filipino sea dragon that ate the moon. So I guess cue more 4x speed montage. Ooh. Bakunawa, the sea serpent that ate the moon. This will look so cool once it's glazed because I made the moon out of translucent clay. So once I glaze it, then it's gonna look more jelly-like and it's gonna have this really cool translucent effect. But yeah, not bad for a prototype. I think he looks really cute. So I think this is actually probably enough for today. And what I'm gonna do now is probably actually take a rest because I've been sculpting for a bit. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go to bed and then I'm gonna sculpt the last guy tomorrow. Okay, good night, y'all. Hi, everyone. So it's the next day, but I totally forgot to film myself sculpting the frog. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how it turned out. It's very cute. This little guy. I really like how the markings turned out on this and the concept. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. But I think I'm gonna remake it with nicer clay because I'm not exactly happy with how the green kind of like blended onto this. I think I need new makeup brushes. Yeah, I use makeup brushes to blend on the pastel because I think it works better. I did also sculpt the ginkgo leaf umbrella, but while taking it out of the oven, I dropped it. So here it is. It kind of fell off the frog, but that's okay. I think it's fine for prototyping. So I'm not happy with this. So I used a little wire on the inside in order to kind of like create this shape. I molded the clay around it, and then I made the leaf part out of translucent clay. And yeah, I don't know. I think that it looks really cute, but I think I want to use a more translucent clay for this. Something I love about ginkgo leaves is that when the sun shines through them, it's this most brilliant, beautiful green. And I really want to kind of mimic that, I suppose, with this. So I think I'm gonna remake this part to be thinner and with a more translucent clay like Cernit instead of Sculpey Primo. And then I want to remake this part because it looks a little bit like a lollipop stick. I'm gonna remake it, I think, with a thinner wire. So that's that. You can see a little indent on the hand, and it was supposed to be like this. And I think it's a little too tall compared to the frog. So I think I'm gonna actually bring it up like this, and I want to trim down maybe a third of the stem. This prototype is really cute. I'm really happy with how all of these prototypes have turned out. I think I'm gonna remake all of them though with Sculpey Primo clay, because I was using Craftsmart. I like to use Craftsmart for prototyping because, I don't know, it's cheaper. I have a giant block of it, so I needed to use that up anyway. So I thought I would spend the rest of this video chatting a bit about why I sculpt Asian folktale inspired pieces. So I grew up Asian American, and I am the child of 2 immigrants who came here from the Philippines back in the 80s and 90s. And I think like a lot of other Asian Americans or children of immigrants, I grew up really disconnected from my culture. My parents were afraid to teach me their language, their mother tongue, because they were afraid that I would be bullied in school. And so I can understand bits and pieces here and there, but I can't hold a deep conversation with my parents in their mother tongue. And I find that sad. So I guess I started learning about Asian folktales and Filipino folktales as a means of reconnecting to my culture. If you really think about it, the thing that connects people are stories. At the end of the day, when all is said and done, stories are all that remain of us, the things that people will say about us. And so folktales are essentially stories that are passed down generation through generation. And I think that's a beautiful way of reconnecting to the people before you. I think we live in an age now where people feel more disconnected than ever. And I'm hoping that through my story-inspired art, people can feel a little more connected, whether that's to their culture, to their people, or even to that childlike wonder that you may have had when you were reading these stories as a kid. And I don't know, I think that's a beautiful thing. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry, this is my very first time ever recording myself speaking, and it's a little bit intimidating, but follow me along. I really want to help people feel reconnected to something. Okay, let me know what you think in the comments. In my next video, I plan on resculpting all of these guys with the higher quality clay. And yeah, thanks for following my journey. I'll see you all later. Take care. "懐かしい白百合は